This is Ticats Today. I'm Steve Milton, and it's my great pleasure to be joined by linebacker Trevor Hoyte, who people know by now from not only playing against the Ticats with the Argos, but of course this is his first season as a Tiger Cat. We're going to have a little discussion, Trevor, just about you and your past and how you got to be where you are. You grew up in a village, I guess it's a village, is it, called Wakefield, Quebec, and it's about maybe 40 minutes east of Ottawa along that number 5?
Yeah, so Wakefield's about 45 minutes north of Ottawa, and I actually grew up another 15 minutes from there, farther north on a lake, and we lived like on dirt roads and everything like that. So I grew
up by those great farm fields up there.
Yeah,
those
even
tremendous farms.
Past the farms.
No
actually.
kidding.
So yeah, I grew up in a very rural location, and it was just me and my brother and my sisters out there, and we would play sports on the front yard and the backyard and play with the neighbors and everything like that, but not city folk at all.
That area is not known for football. I mean, developing football players. How did that come about with you?
Well, first of all, my dad, he was big into football. First of all, he played in Laurier.
Played at Laurier.
He had a chance to go pro. He ended up tearing his ACL.
Your sister was a great athlete as well, all Canadian.
Excellent athlete, but my dad really pushed us to play sports, and his involvement, he won a Vanier Cup with the Ottawa GGs, so that was big in my life, playing football, and started at a young age, and then, we all played every type of sport. We played soccer, rugby, everything, skiing, we were into it all.
So to play age-class football, did you have to travel somewhere? Did you have to go over towards Hull or somewhere like that? Or?
Yeah, so our high school, there's no high school in the region, so the nearest Anglophone high school is in Gatineau,
right.
So it's in Philemon, right? And that was actually a good place. We had quite a bit of football players over there, so that's where the football journey really started. I played a little bit of Gatineau, like high school, not high school, but in elementary school, but it wasn't, good level of football. But from high school, what happened is I went into CJEP, and there was no football team there.
You went to John Abbott?
Yeah, but first I went to this other CJEP near my house, so in Gatineau, but there was no football team on it. So I played like in the Ottawa League. We won a championship. I had no exposure to play university, so I decided I need to go up to John Abbott to get looked at. So that's what I did, and I ended up finding my team in Carleton.
For people that don't know what the CJEP, it's like college, right? It's kind of like junior college.
Like junior college.
You would go there, and it's one of the reasons. Some of the reasons that some of the Quebec universities have a bit of a leg up on other teams, because you get an extra year, and the football is outstanding.
Yeah, absolutely.
And John Abbott is on the west side of of Montreal Islands. Always had a pretty good team. So you did. Ottawa see you there, scout you there? Or?
Yeah, so when I went to John Abbott, I had a great opportunity to play, and we had a great coaching staff, everything. We had a great team, and we got scouted by all the universities. So, Queens, I think, was the first team, but then as soon as they came to look at our guys, every university came, and then I had many offers and went around and, kind of shopped the teams and found out Carleton, they had 7 guys get drafted the year I went, so I thought this is the best opportunity for me to play professionally if I go to a team like that. So
did your dad try to say, hey, Wilfrid Laurier, it's kind of that's where he played, right?
He played at Wilfrid Laurier, but he coached at Ottawa. So he was pushing for me to go to Ottawa. And I was a big GG's fan as a kid. I mean, I watched the Panda games when I was younger, and I was always going for Ottawa. So it was a switch up to go to Carleton.
And I want to go back to Wakefield a little bit here, too, because it seems to produce people that have a variety of interests. Wakefield, as you say, it's an English conclave in the middle of basically a French area, but it's also very artistic and culturally oriented, and it seems to be one of the great pubs of all time was there too at the Black Sheep, right?
Yes, the Black Sheep.
Which is just gone. That's where, of course, some of the greatest artists in this country have played and developed their wares. But it also seems to stimulate people to have an individualistic nature. Education is a big thing to you. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that part of your schooling outside of the football. You're essentially a rocket scientist, right?
Absolutely. So I've been always interested in school. I can remember, like, when I was 5 years old, I was trying to figure out what a negative number was. And for me, conceptually, I was thinking, if my dad puts the CD into the the CD player in negative time, what would that mean? It didn't make sense for me. So I was always a math kid. I was always interested in those subjects in school. And from there, I would, watch YouTube videos about quantum physics because that was very sciencey, and it sparked my interest. And not only that, but when living up in that rural location, you look up at the sky at night, you see all the stars, right? So that fascinated me as well. Every night I could look up and, no one could explain to me what everything is going on. They have ideas or hypotheses, but, what's really up there. So that really sparked my interest, and I ended up studying astrophysics at University of Carleton, and I still pursue it to this day. Like, I was doing research with Carleton as well as this organization called the Deep Collaboration.
That's what I want to talk about, and I want to look at my notes here for that. It was you're on the neutrino analysis group, yes, of the DAP 3600.
Exactly.
Could you explain that in English, please?
Absolutely. So Deep 3600 is a dark matter experiment with liquid argon, looking for these dark matter particles. So we call it dark matter because we can't see them. But this big experiment is in Sudbury, and I was basically a technician. So I took the data from this giant observatory and tried to find neutrinos in it. So if you know what a neutrino is,
I don't.
No. Okay. So
nobody out here does either.
So neutrinos come from the sun. Well, they come from a lot of different places, but they're subatomic particles. They're smaller than electrons, and they're very hard to see. You could call them dark as well. They're difficult to see, and so we're basically guessing that we could see a couple from the sun, and so we're looking into that detector and seeing if we see any of these traces of these tiny particles called neutrinos. Very elusive. So it was quite the study, and they're still working on it today. So I don't know really how much I can go into that, but
because it's secret.
Well, there is a sort of like amount of, you're not allowed to provide all the information when you're part of the team. Like, I don't know, we have to hide some of the slides we show. So I won't say anything about if we found them or not. But that was what we're studying.
Will you do that in the off season then? Is that
so that's what I did. I did that last year in the off season, and this year I'm not sure if I'm going to go back to that. It was a great opportunity to continue building my skills with coding and staying in the physics field, but I think I'm going to look for another opportunity just to diversify my my resume and make sure I'm ready for employment after football, because we all know it doesn't last forever.
All right, that's very far ahead looking for you to do that. We're going to talk a little bit about your professional career and then get back to coming here, because there's an educational aspect to that as well, and that's a teaser, folks. So we'll get to that. So the Argos draft you, and you got to play fairly quickly. They drafted you because of the fourth round in 2022, right?
21, yeah.
21, and so in 2022, 21 you're there.
Yeah, 21 I'm there playing.
You got 22. You get some time on specials.
I played on specials pretty much the whole season, and I played on defense actually quite a bit in my first year.
Oh, that's right, because
we had quite a few injuries. We had Cam Judge, even Enoch Mwamba was injured. So
let me hold you there. Okay, so you step in for Cam Judge.
Yeah.
Enoch.
Yeah.
Position that you often play here.
Yeah.
Is the same position that Simone had played before, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So. Now think of those three guys.
Yes, all great
Hall of
players
Famers,
to play in front of course. Yes.
And then how's that feel to step in for those guys immediately? Really?
Yeah, well, it was awesome because I had the best support system. Like Enoch Mwamba, Cam Judge, those were great guys to have in a rookie year. They took me under their wing, and they showed me how to watch film. They showed me how to study the opponent, how to practice like a professional, how to get better, and that meant a lot for me. And even when I went into the game and those guys were injured, they stood by my side on the sidelines, told me what to do, explained to me, told me to relax, just, go out there and make your plays. And that really motivated me, got me ready to go. And I think that's really a big part of why I'm here and playing on the Ticats defense, because of the guys before me. So
if I'm not mistaken, your first sack was against the Ticats. Was your first sack? No. Okay, maybe you didn't have a sack. Okay,
no, I didn't have
yeah. Was your first game against the Ticats?
Yeah, my first start was against the Ticats.
Sorry,
absolutely,
there.
Yes. So I came in against.
I'm a little older,
one.
right? I get confused about game starts, picks, all of those kinds of things. Now you come to the end of your term there. Are you considering retiring at that point? And the reason I'm asking is about medical school. You had applied to medical school, right?
Yeah, so something I had left out was throughout university, even in CJIP, I was thinking about going into medicine. So that was always in the back of my head. So even when I was graduating university, I'd applied to some medical schools, hadn't gotten in. But throughout the time I was at Toronto, I was constantly applying to these medical schools, and I had interviews, but unfortunately, I never got in. So before my end of my third year, I had told the team, listen, after this, I think I might retire. I might be, just going back to school for another 4 years and becoming a doctor. But I only found out in May during training camp that I hadn't gotten in. So I told them what had happened, and I ended up, looking in free agency and finding the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Was that had they already mentally replaced you, do you think? Was that
absolutely.
So if you hadn't done that, are you still an Argonaut perhaps?
I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but possibly.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. This is working out
working out excellent for me. So I'm not mad about what happened at all.
Are you still interested in medical school?
I am, absolutely. So I will be reapplying, and hopefully next go around it's successful.
And you would have to leave the game then, of course, to go to medical school, I would assume. Right?
Yeah, most likely. But I mean, we never know, right? I was very confident last time that I was going to get in, and I didn't. And I kept training in the off season as if I was playing football, and I'm glad I did, because
you have a lot of other interests. If medical school doesn't work out, what would you go? Something in astrophysics or maybe even something different, maybe house building or something.
Honestly, yeah, something that has to do anything where I get to use my intellect and I get to think critically. I think I'll be successful in it, and potentially trying more of a corporate side, because a lot of the times I've been working in the government or research fields where there's not necessarily that motivation by everybody. So I think I'd like to be on a more fast-paced team, more suitable like a sports team like the Hamilton Tiger Cats, where you come in to work every day. So that's kind of the thought process for me.
As you look ahead to Labor Day to play the Argonauts again, how does that feel for? I mean, there's several of you. I mean, there are 5 or 6 that played together as recently as less than a year ago for this. If it's not it is the biggest rivalry in the CFL, the oldest and the most fierce, the most dangerous in many ways, fans included. How does that feel for looking ahead to Labor Day? I mean, you've been on the other side of this.
No, it feels great. It feels amazing. It feels amazing to get the opportunity to show to the coaches, to the staff, to everyone on the Argonaut side and the Hamilton side. It's a good. That I'm thankful that they believe in me to be here, and then also, kind of show the other team kind of revenge, like, hey, you made a mistake on not re-signing me and whatnot. So, yeah, it's an exciting opportunity. It's exciting to see all the old players I used to play with, and yeah, just excited to play against them always.
Like you were there, here you're a ratio breaker on certain parts of the game. When you decide to go that way, use a Canadian. But do you like that idea that you're a ratio breaker? Does that make a difference, or do you just think of yourself as a football player?
I just think about myself as a football player. At the end of the day, we all have the same job. We lace up the cleats and we run and tackle each other. So,
as you have heard throughout this interview, Trevor is much more than just a football player. So catch him while he's still playing, because eventually soon he'll either be setting your broken arm or sending you into space. This is Being Ticats Today. I'm Steve Milton.